Hey everybody, the FearFic gang is going to discuss Resident Evil Village. We're going to discuss all of the ins and outs of the game. Very excited, really enjoyed playing it. Chelsea and I played it over the weekend. I know that you guys are informed in what happens in the game. I just want to upfront say that I think it's an absolute 10 out of 10. I think that it's going to be talked about for forever. People said that the developer said that it was 3 times bigger than Resident Evil 7, and not in terms of length, but in terms of like
height,
content and height. Yes, verticality. It really is. You can tell 3 times as much work went into it. Has great variety and pacing. If you're going to play it, play Resident Evil 7 first, and its DLC, Not a Hero. It's kind of really important for the like emotional journey the game takes you on to play 7 first.
And it turns out Ethan is Nemesis. Interesting.
Yeah. It's crazy that how the time warps, and that just happens to be the case. Avoid spoilers and trailers. The trailers spoil everything. It's insane. You can go into options and turn off camera acceleration and the crosshair, because the crosshair will legitimately make the game too easy. It's really easy to get headshots unless you turn off the crosshair.
And aim assist.
And aim assist, honestly. Yeah, it's ridiculous. And last but not least, before we get into spoiler territory, I just wanted to say the easy mode is an easy mode, the normal mode is a normal mode, and the hard mode is a hard mode. If you're wondering, like, what is normal? Is normal casual? No, normal is gamer normal. Easy is normal easy. And hard is normal hard.
And Ala mode is where you eat ice cream off her feet.
Mm-hmm. What?
Ala mode is where you eat ice cream off of Lady D's feet.
Yes, that's coming later in another update.
I'm really happy with the fact that in the game itself there is no one pronunciation for Lady Dimitrescu. Like, people just kind of say it.
Lady Dimitrescu.
She says it Dimitrescu.
She does.
Like, she's like Dimitrescu. She kind of like makes some little mouth mumbles after the esque sound.
The voice actress. They just gave the voice actress the script, and they're like, "Here you go." And she's like, "How do I pronounce this?" And they said, "Just read it."
Fuck it, just do it.
They just shut the door right after handing it to her.
Well,
that's legitimately
my name is Lady Dumbass.
What they do in Warhammer in for the audiobooks. Like, people will say, "How do you pronounce this?" And Black Library is just like, "It doesn't matter, just do it." So you have people. There is no canon pronunciation to a lot of main characters' names.
They say that like in the recording, like you're listening to it, and they say, "How do I pronounce this?" Doesn't matter. Move on.
So yeah, the game is excellent. House Benevito. Speaking of weird European to say names. Benevito.
Are we getting into spoilers for all the people who?
Unless, does anyone else have any non-spoiler things to say?
No, milkers.
I have a question. Since the next one is going to be Resident Evil 9.
And no, we're not doing numbers.
No, we're doing IX. Numbers. We're doing IX, Roman numeral. So I'm thinking about titles that they could hide the IX in. So I'm thinking, is it going to be Resident Evil Pixies?
It's going to be Resident Evil 666 because there's an IX in there.
Yeah, it could be Resident Evil Mason Dixon. You know,
Mason Dixon.
That was Resident Evil 7 though. But
that was already Resident Evil 7.
That would be amazing.
Resident
Back
Evil
to the
Mr.
Baker
Mix.
Estate, boys.
The Bakers will rise again.
Resident Evil Dixie Cup. What?
This brings up an interesting question. Yeah, how are they going to do that? They'll find some creative way to do it.
No, they're saying that they're not doing numbers anymore.
Sure.
Really?
Yeah. They're saying mainline games are not going to have numbers anymore. We'll see about that.
Resident Evil Nixon.
They kind of, like, it was perfect for 7, but they really should have called Resident Evil 7 Resident Evil Family.
Yeah.
And they kind of chickened out. So I really want to talk about the variety and pacing of the game, because I think that that's its biggest strength, is that it doesn't dwell on one thing.
All right, if you don't want spoilers, everybody, skip to this point in the video. Elias will cut in himself saying what hour to...
It'll skip
what
to
hour?
the end.
Yeah.
There's excellent pacing throughout the game. They have a monster that is the most horrifying thing in the world, and also Slender Man. So it's just Slender Man.
Woman? Oh, no.
No, it's a giant, maybe aborted baby.
I think it's just like terrifying baby thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Terrifying baby monster.
It reminds me of what the weird chicken baby fetus in PT would grow up to be.
Yeah, a lot of that segment reminded me of PT, like a good realization of PT.
That segment. There's a really weird like kind of giant circle that's been made because PT influenced like every indie horror video game that's coming out post PT. And then when I was watching the segment of House Beneviento, I just kept thinking, I swear I've seen this indie horror game before, but then remembered, oh, right, like, they're all taking cues from Silent Hill and Resident Evil themselves, so it's just kind of just this beautiful big circle that's been drawn in. I did really like that segment. I'm going to disagree slightly and say that the pacing I felt was a little bit inconsistent, because certain levels had really good pacing, other ones I felt dragged on a bit too much. But that's really just a nitpick and purely up to subjective opinion.
Now, perhaps the DP are Resident Evil. Maybe you can explain this for me. I saw one playthrough of. I've watched a couple people play it, but I've seen different parts, through different people.
Yeah.
The section where you're trying to find the doll in the house.
Yeah.
Is that supposed to be simple, or because I don't know if the person I watched just was really lucky or what, but they just went like, I guess I'll go this way, there it is. I guess I'll go this way, there it is. I guess I'll go this way, there it is.
No, it was straightforward.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if there was like something supposed to happen otherwise, like stopping you from.
No, that was very straightforward, I think.
That part did seem kind of weird to me because like they put around these things that are like on the first playthrough, I think it would be a little bit harder, but subsequently it's just like, wow, this is the same thing every time. Which I'm wondering if they legitimately did that for speedruns for
maybe.
consistency's sake, because I know that segment would kind of drag if you're just trying to go through the motions. I don't know. And people are already talking about a babyless patch for speedruns, and apparently it's a huge hot button topic.
Oh boy,
babyless patch.
That's the best part of that segment, though. Like,
that's
I'm talking about the beginning of the game where you're putting Rose to bed.
Oh! I thought you meant
two babies.
Two babies. Too many babies.
Two babies. One Ethan.
So would that be like
both.
That would be a birth control mode, a baby control patch.
Control mod.
This is a patch you wear.
I do, as a concept, wonder if the Duke, who is the best character in the game, the Duke,
Mr. Dookie,
is a projection of Rose.
What?
I mean, maybe even the
Duke.
I don't know what I am.
Baby guy?
Is the Duke a reference to the fish people of Innsmouth?
Well, what's his face definitely is.
Wait, is the Duke not the fucking? Oh, I thought.
No, the Duke's the guy who sells you shit.
Oh, Humpty Dumpty. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, but I'm very glad that we can all agree that Duke is the best character because he's great.
I think
I
that the Duke is a projection of Mia.
Well,
he's
here's the thing. Consider the following: Mia is worst woman in the world. She is such a bitch. Fuck her.
Actually, that is one thing. This was a conflict I had watching the playthrough because I loved 7. 7 was great. Mia, I didn't care about like the entire
I didn't care about her
because she's just there, and there's a constant like nagging thing that you have to deal with, and I don't know. You never really get much out of it.
Ethan, why are you going to Louisiana? My wife.
So when it was revealed, oh, it's Ethan in the next one, I was like, oh, okay. Let's see what they do with this. Oh, Mia's dead. Oh, cool. Awesome. Don't worry about this.
That's
it's not going to be that again. But then, like, she does come back, and there was a lot of... I'm very conflicted, like I said. I did like, eventually, Ethan's arc, but I also... I don't know. Ethan and Mia were just, like, the weakest parts of 7 for me.
Ethan, I don't think was. I like Ethan as a character. I think that the issue is that in 7, they don't explore enough of Mia's backstory as a shitty person and a terrible wife. And so it's just like, come save me. And at no point is like, Ethan has just been so traumatized. It's like, oh, it's my wife. At no point does he ever just speak up and say like, so what is this whole, like, you secretly working for a crime organization thing?
I can't tell you that.
I can't tell you that. It's all
we know about their relationship is she calls him up, and they apparently love each other, but we're just told that. We're not shown. And then when 8 comes, they're living in Europe. It's not even Mia, and like I feel like we.
Yeah,
have
that's the best
no
part. It's
actual
Miranda
need-
instead. She's a better character.
She's a better wife, probably.
You can't spell
Probably.
Miranda without Mia.
Oh my god! But yeah, like
Suddenly-
we're never actually.
Honey,
given
why are
any-
you wanting me to fuck your ass so much all of a sudden?
God damn
We
it.
never did that before. What the hell? Alright.
I was in a cave for many a year and had no ass fucking. I'm trying to make up for lost time.
So I would say when we're talking about projections and, who's what and what's whatever, it's kind of interesting because it's like, I know that they drew a lot, of course, on like classic monster tropes and shit like that.
Yes.
But there's also all the stuff mixed in of like, different genres of horror, along with the fact that they're, just like universal monster tropes or, things like that. Plus, there's like the fairy tale aspect of it, so it's all mixed into this fucking pot. And it's like, what even represents what anymore? I don't know.
It's a wonderful menagerie. I do, personally speaking, the Heisenberg.
Heisenstein.
His is the weakest section for me.
Frankenberg.
It feels very out of place. I don't know why.
Do you mean? I'm not sure what you mean by out of place. Do you mean like because it's like a industrial section or what?
Yeah, precisely.
That's literally every single Resident Evil game, though.
I know, but
That's
like
the whole premise is like it's always like, hey, go do a creepy mansion, and then it's just like you go do another place that like completely changes the dimension, and then the third one is always the lab section. And so it makes sense to me to have it be like that, where I like that interpretation, and there has been a like discussion of like, this might be the best lab section that has ever been a lab section in a Resident Evil game, because it's
which is fair, and like I don't have that much of a background in Resident Evil, so just as a non-fan or just like someone who's not well versed in it, I did like the storybook aspect. I liked going from village to castle to haunted house to Innsmouth. And then the other one just clashed so much that I kind of felt like, okay. It's not bad. I just felt it was the weakest section. But again, purely subjective opinion.
You didn't like the Michael Bay Transformer, boss?
It reminded me of a Deadmau5 video, actually, believe it or not.
I like the idea, and this is not really a criticism or anything, but I like the idea of this character with magnetic powers drawing all of this metal to himself, and then it's like, then he sort of is like, and, not that this is actually in the game for anybody who's, hasn't seen it or anything, but the idea of, in his head, being like, why did I do this? Now I can't, I can't just kill this guy with an iron pipe. Why did I put all this around me? I can't just magnetically kill this dude now. Fuck. All throughout the game I was driving rebar through his chest and shit, but now I can't do it and he's killing me.
Yeah, he really should. They made Heisenberg just seem so goddamn powerful. It was just like, well, I don't know how we're gonna win this.
Yeah.
He also monologued a lot, but I get it.
Well, the monologuing, they're really trying to play into that kitsch, right? From like Resident Evil 4. This is a game for Resident Evil fans, and and I'm perfectly okay with that. But it's they're playing into like the fun, diatribe that they're going on. It's kind of like a Metal Gear Solid game in that way, because like they all kind of have their own philosophy or their fucking gripe with the world, and I like that. I like that Mordeaux is just like a giant bitch.
Yeah.
That's his character is just like, no, I just want to like suck on the teat of the authoritarian state, and it's just like, oh, okay.
Now I'm a giant fish. Look out.
I'm a giant fish.
Yeah, speaking of merging all of these things until you can't tell what they meant anymore, like in terms of trying to define, some things can't be defined into little packages. But making, like I said, an Innsmouth fish guy, and then naming him Moreau, like Dr. Moreau, and then making him like the Hunchback of Notre Dame, and then it's like, oh shit, that's quite a mixed package.
Yeah, it's just wearing your influences on your sleeve, which I don't have a problem with.
I'm just saying it's like that thing, like, you can't do a game theory video where it's like, and did you know Moreau is actually based on the island of Dr. Moreau? It's like, yeah, but, and 70 other things, okay?
I was thinking back to Doom. Was it 2016, 2015's Doom?
Yeah.
Where like you start up and then they start giving you exposition and you just like punch the radio so you don't have to hear it and you just go out and shoot things. I was hoping that Ethan would do that during one of the Heisenberg sections. Just shut up and just start shooting things.
That was actually like the thing where he turns into the big giant mech. I was like thinking, wouldn't it be cool if this is like we're well into spoiler territory, so what the fuck ever. But when Chris Redfield, I think it is, gives you the chariot of fuckery.
That is such, like, to me at least, as an outsider, like Resident Evil distilled. You have Chris Redfield playing it completely straight. No, you don't understand, Ethan. Yeah, I had to do all these things, and we need to go defeat this great evil. Anyway, here's this ridiculous ass battle chariot I made you. He like throws him the keys and just walks away.
I call it the fuck dozer. Here you go. But I thought it would be cool, theoretically, if it was something like if he had just given him something that negated Heisenberg's power somehow.
Yeah.
And then you have something where there's this big boss battle set up. Ethan uses this device and Heisenberg realizes he can't, use magnetism, and then you just shoot him in the face and he's dead. And then you could just have, like, the boss be, and he also was unleashing this giant mecha monstrosity. Now you could fight that,
Well, that is kind of like a gripe I have, though, is the machine, the fuck dozer is supposed to negate it,
Yeah.
but it's made of metal.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they're just like, no, but it's not made of metal, and it's like,
Did they say that?
That really looks, yes. It's like, it's made out of an alloy, and I'm like...
Oh, yeah, it's like carbon fiber alloy or something.
And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, no, that's made out of metal.
Pretty sure carbon fiber doesn't rust like that.
I painted rust on it to fool Heisenberg.
You know,
I've been spending hours
making this.
I brought in this guy named Abysme. He does great miniature painting. I had him put rust spots on it.
That's a fucking lie, because my miniature painting sucks.
It's an idea, though, of
It's a fantasy, though.
if you're Magneto, and then you paint something up to look like metal, would Magneto get, like, fucked up and be like, why can't go, mutant power, go? And it's just not going. He's just,
Go,
Imagine
power.
Imagine if Wolverine just had carbon fiber on his bones and shit. How different would the X-Men universe be?
12
Okay.
different. I do like the idea, though. I thought, I didn't catch the part where they said carbon fiber shit and whatever. That must have went by so quick. But I thought it was just that Heisenberg was using so much power to hold together his big construction thing, his big construct, that I was like, oh, okay, he can't use his magnetism anymore because he's concentrating on holding this big thing together. But I guess not.
Let's assume that he was. Could he not just pick up those giant, like, terrain pieces you're hiding behind and just, like, smash Ethan like a bug with them?
Well, he could also just drop his big construct and kill you and then put it back on.
Right.
The issue that I have is, like, Ethan should not be able to go up against Heisenberg or Miranda in terms of, like, it's fine that he survives and he's just, like, a durable boy because he's made out of mold. That's fine. Yeah. But, like, there's nothing tactical about him as far as we know in terms of, like, he's trained to be, like, a, Navy SEAL. Like, he's just a dude.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one issue I had when
the kind of dude who doesn't ask where his wife is.
He's like, Resident Ethan. Yeah.
I was expecting this one to not be an Ethan-esque character, but to be Chris Redfield or someone. And maybe, like, if you cross paths with Ethan, and I'm sure this will be DLC where you're playing some other team member and maybe you cross paths with them or something.
I really hope you play as Chris and Chris's boys.
Yeah, that would be.
I hope you play as Chris just constructing the carbon fiber fucking fuck machine. Like, the whole
just
thing
make a
is
little
just
mini game where you can
together.
construct different ones. Yeah, that'd be fun. Like the scene from fucking what is it, Wreck-It Ralph, where they're making the car.
I think in the future, though, the next game cannot feature a main character. It has to be like it can't be Chris Redfield because he's just too empowered and he's such a boulder punching bitch that, like.
Well, isn't it going to be
yeah.
What's her face?
Rose.
Yeah.
Well, that's the question that we were having because you guys aren't up on your Resident Evil lore. Chelsea and I pretty well are. There is Sherry and Jake from Resident Evil 6. Now there's Rose, and then there's Alex Wesker. There's like 4 super babies now, and we're just wondering when there's going to be like Avengers Infinity War Marvel Babies edition.
I hope not.
How good is Resident Evil with the aging process? Do they care about that at all, or because I mean,
the character's getting older?
Yeah, if Rose, I don't know how old Rose is supposed to be. I don't remember if it said how many years later, but let's say she's like 14, 15. I don't know, even that young. That's going to put some of these people like out of fighting shape. I mean, theoretically.
So all of them are kind of like getting up there in age already.
Yeah.
But they have had the characters like age and look older, but they've done it very gracefully, the same way that like a Hollywood actor is. Like, if you look at like Benicio del Toro,
Andy Dick.
like that. Yeah, Andy Dick. They're all of the Hollywood heartthrobs. They're getting older, but like they're still.
Even like other franchises like Splinter Cell, Sam Fisher was like 85 before he stopped it, and he was doing fine. Like no one really questions it.
He's 85 in Siege right now. They put him in Siege. He's just an 85-year-old. Yes.
Are you fucking serious?
Yes.
Did they change the name to Seizure?
His code name is Zero, and he's just like, look, I'm only 0 years old.
His code name is Dementia.
His code name is what?
Whoa! I was there when the NSA invaded made-up Eastern European country. Double is playing Resident Evil Village right now. Wow. I know that because I have Steam open.
Wow.
Wow.
So my favorite section is...
Wait. I just want to say one quick thing before we move on. If Rose is the lead character in the next game, I really look forward to all the articles from all these different blog news sites saying finally Resident Evil has a female protagonist.
Dude, someone's going to do it at some point.
And everybody's going to be like, actually.
Who wore it better, Lady D or Rose?
Ooh.
But no, I think Super Rose Baby is a cool idea. I just hope that I hope they have something for her that isn't main character of the next mainline game.
Oh my god. Rose is Alice from the movies. They're going to bring the movies into it. They're going to bring the movies into canon.
That's the thing though, is they've kind of had those kind of characters before.
Yeah.
Because they have Sherry, they have Jake, they have Alex Wesker, and now they have her. So there's a
What about this? What about this? In
Fairy Tales though, Alice, but go ahead, sorry.
You're playing Rose and you have to go rescue the president's son from Spain. Because I would know. That would be great.
Does the president's son have a schoolboy uniform on at 18 or whatever the fuck?
Yes, precisely.
I would be so happy to watch that.
He's just wearing those like old-timey little boy shorts, like dress shorts.
So I've been watching a playthrough of Matoni Plays does the Resident Evil 4, and it's a legitimately fun, good game. Like I haven't even played it, and I can tell. So they just
if you haven't played Resident Evil 4, what are you doing? It's so good. It's so good.
I like how we talk about Resident Evil 8, and we're like, Moreau is actually like, the Hunchback of Notre Dame in appearance, but he's got the name of Dr. Moreau from this thing, and he's, more like the Innsmouth fish people and blah, blah, blah. But then you look back at Resident Evil 4, and it's like, that's Napoleon.
Yeah, it's literally Napoleon. It's so good.
Napoleon.
Look, it's Napoleon, everybody.
Dirty Corsican.
Hey, look, it's the Pope.
If the Pope isn't the main villain from the next game, I'm going to be pissed off.
Just the actual Pope?
The actual Pope? No, the Papal States are behind Umbrella. Like, come on, just do it.
Okay, can we get Pope Brella? My name is Pope Brella. No relation, I assure you.
All I wanted to say is, of all the areas and levels, I really like the castle the best. I think the whole game is beautiful, number one. It's gorgeous to look at. But I think they really, really nailed that Gothic, Dracula-esque, just winding castle. That was really beautiful.
Well, that's kind of why I was talking about the pacing, is I really like that. At the beginning, everything is really off kilter. You feel really disempowered. Then you go to the castle and you actually start playing like a Resident Evil game proper, where you're in tight corridors and you're fighting very powerful enemies. Mm-hmm. And then right as you're leveling up your weapons, it just takes all your weapons away, throws you into a puzzle room, and is just like, hey, escape all this terrifying giant baby stuff. And then it's just like, oh, okay, that was a big emotional deal being chased by that. I really want to shoot something. Then the game has you shoot a bunch of shit. It has really good pacing to make sure that it's not relying too much on one horror game gimmick.
I still prefer, I guess, the claustrophobic feeling of the Baker Estate, personally. I don't know. It's hard not to compare this one to 7 because it's a sequel. And I think it's a great game, do not get me wrong. But I think every time, as I was watching, I was like, man, I kind of miss 7 right now. But that's just me.
I'll tell you what I do miss is the End of Zoe DLC, where you get to play as Joe Baker, and you like at the end of it, you get the ridiculous power arm thing,
Right.
and you just punch zombies' heads off. That's so fun.
I actually haven't seen the castle in Resident Evil 8 because apparently Lady D was a lot of hype, but then she was an early game washout, so I've missed it every time I've seen someone playing it.
No. Whoops.
It's very easy to avoid her if you know how to play these games.
Right.
I just saw someone like review the game and like not have too positive opinions about it, but like they were like, yeah, I was like, feeling very threatened by her. I'm like, oh, well, I guess you didn't move very efficiently then?
Did you see that mod with the fly swatter?
Yeah.
God damn it. For anybody who doesn't know, there's a mod where you can go around with a fly swatter and smack Lady D on the ass while she's pursuing you. Just try to sneak her out and hit her.
How are they gonna? So if the next one is about Rose, they're not going to be able to capitalize on how thirsty the internet can collectively get for a character in Resident Evil unless they've got...
Absolutely not. I think you're 100% wrong on that. Remember when everyone was talking about Mr. X? And everyone was like thirsty for Mr. X.
Not to the degree
Mr. Sex.
that Lady D was.
I don't know. I remember artists designing dildos around Mr. X.
Yeah, that was a big thing. So I think whatever the stalker character is, because most Resident Evil games have a stalker character. You have the Verdugo, which is literally just the alien. It's just a xenomorph in Resident Evil 4. And then you have the chainsaw guys and those one horrifying bug creatures, Reapers in 5, and then you have a guy chasing you with a big arm, the cyborg in 6. 7 has Joe Baker. Then you have 2 with Mr. X and Nemesis. Like they always have these characters, and those are always the most interesting and scary characters because they're persistent and they chase you around. So I think that they are going to, whoever the next flavor of the month is going to be, they will capitalize.
Watch it be like a fucking leprechaun.
Do you think that that's the question though, do you think that they will League of Legends this and lean into the thirst?
If they want money, yes. If they have integrity, maybe. We'll see.
I think that for the next Resident Evil game, the villain that's always stalking you should be Mia. And she just is she's just hunting Rose, you play as Rose, and she's just going around, why don't you call? Why don't you write? When are you getting married? Why don't I have any grandchildren?
With you.
Oh, God.
That's just what they should lean into, how bad of a mother Mia is, how terrible of a wife she is.
She's like, I need someone to co-sign for my car loan. She's following you around.
Why wasn't she visiting her fucking husband's grave along with her daughter, as like a special family moment?
Hopefully she's dead. Hopefully she's dead.
If she was dead, they would have showed the grave next to fucking Ethan's.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Well, she might have moved on. She, again, has commitment issues.
She's probably at the bar during that scene trying to pick up a new guy.
Probably.
Very possible. Well, I think that, you got to consider this, though. So, Mother Miranda wanted to have a baby, had a baby died in the Spanish flu.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, I'm going to make a mold baby. She can't make a mold baby successfully. Crime organization says, let us try and make a mold baby. They make a mold baby. Mold baby escapes, goes to the Baker estate, and through the collective mold unconscious is like, I want to make a family. So she makes like a crazy psychotic family. This whole village wants a family. Now Rose is going to be deprived of a real actual family. Is she going to turn into a tyrant, as is being foreshadowed that she doesn't get enough intimacy and like family time and just starts freaking out on people?
It does take a village to raise a child. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my prediction for the next Resident Evil game. You said they're not going to go with numbering, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I will say, I'll go out on a limb and say that unless executives get really cold feet and, they absolutely put a kibosh on it, I think the next game won't even have Resident Evil in the title. I think it will be called Rose from the Dead. And you'll be Rose as a tyrant, but as a tyrant actually being used for good, finally, like you always presume the Umbrella Corporation is, falsely representing themselves as. like she actually has some job to do.
I'm gonna kill your dreams because you don't know enough about Resident Evil.
Fuck
but
off.
that is Jake and Sherry.
Well, I think they're gonna do it again for no reason.
Jake and Sherry are already super kids.
God damn it.
Who got shit from their parents that they didn't want.
Oh well.
Uh,
I still think they'll do it. They'll say, well, we did it one time and it was relatively okay.
well, they basically made a Dead by Daylight ripoff style game. I mean, it's not like in the first person, but like a game where you set up a bunch of zombies and you're just the mastermind of a experiment and you play as different Resident Evil villains, just setting up like a puzzle for people to get through. And everyone hated it, mostly because of the bad netcode. But otherwise, because Resident Evil fans tend to be whiny babies.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a cool game called Resident Evil Resistance, and everyone hates it.
Well, so if not Rose from the Dead, what do you think the next game will be then?
The next game is probably going to be one of those remake style games, which I hope it's
well,
not.
no,
for.
I mean the
I
next
hope
in the
it's-
fucking series, of course. You can't just wuss out like that. You can't cop out. What do you think?
I'm really hoping, because they set up, hey, the BSAA, the good guys, are now using bioweapons. Isn't that fucked up? So that's setting up that there's going to be something, I think that the next...
Shadow War.
I think the next remake style game isn't going to be a remake game. I think it's going to be a sequel to this one that isn't in first person. And you're playing as Chris, doing some cool Chris shit. But I think the next game where you're in the first person and disempowered, I really hope that they get the memo and do a game with Sheva or a game with Rebecca Chambers, because god damn it, everyone is thirsty for those characters, but they keep, you guys want more Chris? You want more Leon? It's like, okay, we know those characters. How about Jill? Remember how she makes a Jill sandwich? It's like, yeah, we know. Please do. There are so many other characters we want to see.
Wouldn't it be great? Because, Resident Evil 8, 7 has the whole family aspect, 8 has sort of the family aspect.
Village. No, well, it's getting bigger. So it's, it starts with Resident Evil, family, Resident Evil Village,
right?
Resident Evil Township, Suburb?
Municipality.
Municipality.
Resident Evil Suburbia. I would play that.
Oh my fucking god, dude. Rose, not an awkward teenager, an angsty teenager, rebellious teenager, okay? Made to live undercover in a suburb. The suburb has strange goings on. Cage. Say what?
Directed by David Cage.
Is this a fucking game already? I don't know what the fuck.
No.
But
the guy who makes Beyond Two Souls and...
Imagine if the tyrant is like a really heavy set dude in like a polo shirt with an AR-15 that just follows you around. Like, get out of my neighborhood. Just a suburban Resident Evil. Wouldn't that be good? Resident Evil Suburbia.
Yeah.
And Rose is like, I don't belong here, man. I belong out in the world and explore. I want to go to New York City and start a fucking band and smoke pot and have a lesbian experience. But then say it didn't count later.
Slime Beast, do you want to tell us something?
Yes. I am Rose.
I am Rose.
But yeah, just a cliche rebellious teenager in a suburb would be a fucking great setting for a Resident Evil game. You have a dude. You're chased by the zombie.
Is really sounding like a cross between a David Cage game and a Life is Strange. So yes. I don't know.
Life is Rose is strange. Life is evil.
Puppet combo, get on that.
But yeah, so what if you had like a bad guy who was like a zombie dude and whatever, but he's got like golf clubs, and he's got the little stupid little hat, like he's just a golfer dude. You got, what else could you have? You could have like, a guy just pushing a lawnmower, a zombie pushing a lawnmower.
Yeah. Or
with a ride on. This is a good game.
Make it.
He's convinced that this is a good idea.
Yeah. And it's called
The real one's going to come out, and Slime Beast is just going to be very sad for a few months.
You're Rose, and what you do is you throw records, like vinyls.
Oh, God.
And you, what else do you have?
You know what? I take it back. This isn't going to be the real game, but this is going to be a DLC of just like Rose at home or something, and it's just going to be her in her suburbia home life.
Dude, oh my god, you have a giant tyrant-y dude. But what he is he's a big guy dressed in like lederhosen with a big, oversized lawn gnome head on. And he just stomps around on people's lawns and shit.
Stop describing the next Dead by Daylight character.
He's called the gnome, but he's huge. You see the contrast?
No, his name is a Dead by Daylight character, and his name is Der Lederhosen. Oh my lord! I think we're done. Is there anything else we're talking about?
Did we talk
That's all
about
I
all
got.
the bosses and shit?
We don't need to.
They're all pretty cool.
Okay, answer me this one question before we stop.
Yeah.
Moreau, okay, when he's a
Yeah.
fish person and he's like saying, "Watch me, mother," and
Yeah.
it's like a kid, saying, "Watch me dive," "Watch me swim."
Yeah,
blah, blah,
yeah,
blah.
yeah.
But
Mhm.
there's one point where he says, "I'm the best," right?
I love it. Yeah.
What is that
I'm
from?
the best.
That's from something.
Are you thinking of the song "I'm the Best"?
No.
I'm the best. I'm the best.
No, there's some cartoon character. I don't know what the cartoon character from South Park or some show that says I'm the best. It just struck me like, is this a reference or?
Have you seen the Japanese puppet ads for Resident Evil 7?
No,
for
but
Resident
somebody
Evil
in the comments tell me what I'm the best is from. Go ahead.
You got to see the Resident Evil 7 puppet ads. If you haven't
Okay.
seen them, go look them up. They're excellent. They're so goddamn funny. It's so like the game got criticism for 7 did for being too constantly scary
Mhm.
without having any downtime.
Right.
And so the big focus on this game was, to make it better pacing and give you more like action time versus scary time.
More
And
sexy
so,
time, yeah.
More sexy time. So the ads are like making fun of the fact that people were saying that they were getting too scared of 7 by saying like, look, it's a fun, child-friendly game.
God damn it. And also, Mother Miranda is biblical horror mixed with Mother Goose. Okay, go ahead. Are we done?
I love Miranda. Or Byzantine.
Yeah, she does have a cool design.
Yeah.
She's like a biblical angel, but also Mother Goose, right? Or am I wrong?
She just looks like what's it called, wet statuary, just like but moving. Looks really fucking cool.
She gets my statue wet.
And your butt
Yeah.
moving?